What's happening, everybody? Welcome back here to the Off the Mic Sports Network. A huge Saturday in college football, and one of the biggest results of the college football Saturday is Alabama goes to Athens between the hedges and beats Georgia 24-21. And really, they had they had 10 minutes up on Georgia in time for a time of possession. Ty Simpson looked great, threw for almost 300 yards. They ran for over 100 yards. They were up 24-14 at one point in this game. It was a pretty impressive performance for an Alabama team that faced a ton of questions after what happened in the opening week against Florida State. But that's not what I want to talk about here. I think we need to start having a conversation here. I have the utmost respect for Kirby Smart and what he has done at Georgia. He's restored them back to the national power and prominence of being at the top of college football. The guy has won multiple national titles. This guy has won, a lot of big games in his days at Georgia. Here's the problem. He hasn't won a lot against Alabama. In fact, he's only won one. Kirby Smart is 1-7 against Alabama after this loss. 107-13 against every other team that he has faced in his career as a head coach. The one win that he has against Alabama is in the 2022 national championship game. That's it. That is the only time. And now he has lost back-to-back games to Kalen DeBoer, who a lot of people wanted to run out of town in the late offseason last year and at the start of this season against Florida State. I think Kalen DeBoer is a much better coach than people realize. It's just the standards in Tuscaloosa are way ridiculously out of control. But do we need to start talking about Kirby Smart the same way we do talk about Ryan Day and not being able to defeat his rivals? Is Kirby Smart basically Ryan Day? Are we really at that point? Because I think it's a fair question. Look at the facts here. Ryan Day has won one game against his rival in Michigan. One game. He lost last year to the worst Michigan team that we had seen. Lost it. I wanted him fired. Everybody wanted him fired. And I'm not saying that Georgia fans should want Kirby Smart fired. This guy's won 2 national championships. Ryan Day just won a national championship last year. But if you're Kirby Smart, considering everything that was on the table with what was going on into this game and a chance for you to bury Alabama and give them their second loss in September, and you go out there and you lose, is Alabama just a big roadblock for this guy? Beating your rivals matters. I said this last year when Ryan Day lost to Michigan. At a certain point, you have got to beat your rival on a consistent basis. 1-7. 1-7. At least the one was a game that mattered. But hell, think about this. Nick Saban's last year as a head coach in the 2023 season, because it was 2021 leading into 2022. But Kirby Smart in Georgia walked into that SEC championship game and they lost. They lost. That blew up a lot of people's hopes, and a lot of Florida State fans are still pretty mad about that whole situation. They couldn't win that game, and it left them out of the playoff. They missed the playoff because they couldn't beat Alabama. Fortunately, the one game that they did beat Alabama was a national championship game in Indianapolis a few years ago. But that's it. Again, Kirby Smart is, if you look at these numbers that I'm telling you, Kirby Smart is basically Ryan Day in the SEC. That's what he is. 1-7 against your rival, and you're 107-13 against everybody else. It's the same thing that's going on with Ryan Day. Ryan Day has historically just been a dominant football coach. Dominant football coach. But he can't beat Michigan. He can't beat his biggest rival. The best thing that I can say for these two coaches is that we're in a different age of college football where wins and losses and getting from week to week are not as, important. They're still important. But if you lose one week and you lose to your rival, it's not the end of the world. You can lose to your rival and you could still make the playoff. 12 teams get in. And if you play a good enough schedule and you don't lose to really bad teams, you're fine. But you guys remember what I was saying last year when Ryan Day lost that game to Michigan, 13-10, when Michigan was a 500 team. I wanted him out because like you've got to win against your rival, especially a team that now has a different coach who a lot of people wanted to run out of Tuscaloosa literally 3-4 weeks ago. The fact that they had this game at home against Alabama, a team that everybody thought was inferior and was kind of like a shell of themselves. You get pushed around by them. They outgain you. Gunnar Stockton threw for like 170, 150, 170 yards. Are Ryan Day and Kirby Smart the same coach? They might be different in some of their philosophies because like Kirby Smart's a defensive guy, Ryan Day's an offensive guy. But both these guys have one singular thing in common. They can't beat their rival. They both have one win against their rival. Ryan Day, the one win that he has over Michigan doesn't really matter because they didn't make I don't think they made the play. Did they make I can't even remember if they made the play. I don't think they did. And then, if you're Kirby Smart, at least, hey, you won the national championship game a couple years ago, but cool. And you've won 2 of them. But a lot of people in Athens, and you guys can get at me in the comments if you're a Georgia fan. If you're frustrated with this, man, like I said, this isn't like a dire situation like we talked about last week with Dabo Swinney and Clemson, who are 1-3. Georgia's going to be fine. They'll probably make the playoff. But on a bigger picture level, every year that goes by where Kirby Smart doesn't beat Alabama, especially with Nick Saban not there. Like Nick Saban was a built-in excuse. That's his mentor. Kalen DeBoer came from Washington. And again, people wanted to run his ass out of town at the start of this year. You let that team walk into your house with already 1 loss on their resume, a chance to give them their 2nd loss before the end of September, and you let them win against you. And it wasn't even that. There were some undisciplined penalties at the end of this game that kind of cost them this game. You let Ty Simpson, a first-time starter, really in only his 4th start, I think, let him throw for almost 300 yards. There's some big picture questions moving forward about what's going to happen here at Georgia. We'll see. But man, ain't looking promising for the Bulldogs. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.